Have you ever heard of Stephen Hopkins? Well, he may have been your 12th great-grandfather. Stephen Hopkins was a man whose life story reads like a quintessential tale of early American survival and fortitude, a narrative woven from threads of adventure, misfortune, and sheer resilience. Born around 1581 in Upper Clatford, in Hampshire, England. His early years likely saw him in common trades, possibly as a tanner, or as a shopkeeper. He married his first wife, Mary, and started a family. They had daughters, Elizabeth and Constance, and a son named Giles. But the quiet life of an English commoner was not his destiny. In 1509, he made a fateful decision. He signed on as a minister's clerk for a voyage to Jamestown. He left his family behind in England, hoping to build a better future in the New World and send for them later. The journey to Virginia became a crucible that tested him to his core. He sailed on the Sea Venture, the flagship of a resupply fleet. The fleet was caught in a monstrous hurricane, and the Sea Venture was wrecked on Bermuda. For nearly 10 months, the castaways, including Hopkins, were marooned. In isolation, Hopkins began to question the governor's authority. He argued the shipwreck voided the governor's power. That defiance was labeled mutiny, a capital crime. Hopkins was sentenced to be executed. His life hung in the balance, a lesson in 17th century hierarchies. Desperate pleas from influential castaways, citing his remorse and his family's plight, spared him. Surviving the wreck and narrowly escaping the noose changed him. It taught him the fragility of life and the complexities of human governance. Eventually, the castaways built 2 small ships using materials salvaged from the wreckage and the island's cedar trees. They sailed to their original destination, the starving Jamestown settlement, in May 1610. Hopkins spent time working in Jamestown and then made his way back to England by around 1617, after receiving the sad news that his wife, Mary, had died. His eldest daughter, Elizabeth, was married in England in 1699 and may have died soon after. Hopkins found himself a widower with 2 young children to care for. He then married Elizabeth Fisher, and with a new family and hard-won knowledge of the New World, he looked again across the Atlantic. He joined other adventurers as they planned a voyage to establish a new colony in North America. In the late summer of 1620, Stephen Hopkins, his pregnant wife Elizabeth, his daughter Constance, his son Giles, and 2 servants, Edward Doty and Edward Leicester, boarded the cramped, aging wine ship, the Mayflower. Whereas half of the passengers were pilgrims, fleeing religious persecution, Hopkins was one of the strangers, motivated by economic opportunity rather than theology. He had lived in Bermuda and Jamestown, giving him rare practical knowledge of the Americas. That experience made his counsel invaluable to the small, determined colonists. The Atlantic crossing lasted 66 brutal days. Ferocious storms battered the Mayflower as it slowly traversed the big water. A main beam cracked and desperate mid-ocean repairs were required. Below decks, 102 passengers were crammed in a damp, dark, foul-smelling space where there was little privacy. Provisions dwindled. Disease threatened constantly. The relentless pitching and rolling made seasickness universal. In that chaos, Elizabeth Hopkins went into labor. Against the odds, she gave birth to a healthy boy. They named him Oceanus, born on the sea. Oceanus's birth was a rare moment of hope amid fear. The ship was tossed by violent North Atlantic gales. Passengers huddled and prayed for deliverance. Hopkins, who had survived a shipwreck, knew the ocean's power too well. His presence offered comfort to newcomers from England. His survival knowledge became a critical asset to the community. On November 9, 1620, the Mayflower sighted land off Cape Cod, far north of its intended destination. Treacherous shoals and the onset of winter forced passengers to reconsider plans. Anchored in what is now Provincetown Harbor, tensions surfaced. Some strangers argued they were no longer under the Virginia contract. They claimed they needn't obey colony leaders. Remembering his near death in Bermuda for defiance, Hopkins likely saw the danger. He was one of the 41 adult men who signed the Mayflower Compact. The compact established temporary civil government by consent of the governed, ensuring order could be maintained in their new, uncertain home. Upon settling at Plymouth, the colonists faced a devastating first winter. Malnutrition, exposure, and disease, claiming the lives of nearly half of the passengers and crew. Most of the Hopkins family, through a combination of luck and fortitude, managed to survive this starving time, but sadly, Oceanus Hopkins died young. Stephen Hopkins's prior experience with Native American peoples, likely gained during his time in Virginia, quickly made him an essential figure in the colony's diplomatic efforts. In the spring of 1621, the Wampanoag man Samoset startled the pilgrims by walking boldly into their settlement and speaking broken English. It was to Hopkins' house that he was taken. Hopkins provided hospitality, becoming the colony's first de facto ambassador to the native population. His unique qualifications made him a natural choice for delicate missions. He was chosen to accompany Edward Winslow on the first formal diplomatic visit to the powerful Wampanoag sachem, Massasoit. This journey was fraught with risk, taking them deep into unfamiliar territory. Hopkins's ability to navigate the complex protocols and cultural nuances of this encounter was crucial in cementing the alliance between the English colonists and Massasoit's people, a treaty that would ensure the colony's survival for decades. Stephen Hopkins, one of the Mayflower's most fascinating passengers, left a legacy that flourished through his many children. Together, their families established numerous colonial lineages, with Constance bearing 12 children and Giles fathering 10, who in turn produced at least 45 grandchildren within just 2 generations. Over the 14 or so generations since 1620, those branches have spread into hundreds of thousands of living descendants across North America and beyond. Modern genealogical models and data from sources like the Mayflower Society and WikiTree suggest that between 500,000 and 1.5 million people alive today descend from Stephen Hopkins. His line, sustained through both Constance's Snow family and Giles's Cape Cod descendants, makes him one of the most numerically significant progenitors of the early Plymouth colony, a man whose adventurous spirit clearly carried forward in blood as well as history. His life was a story measured in generations. Are you a descendant of Stephen Hopkins? We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and please, don't forget to hit the like button before you go.